Welcome to NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. This is Prep Recruiting Insider. We're going to tell you about all the best prep football players in the country, and many of them are right here in the state of Louisiana and locally in New Orleans. And we're going to tell you about all the fastest cars, and the best place to drive them is right here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. Hi, I'm Ro Brown. Thanks for joining us again this week. Another big week talking about recruiting and about high school football, and we'll have our legend. And we already have our legend right here sitting here next to me, at my left, and that's Rene and Ro, our prep recruiting insider. Nate, how you doing?
It does pay to take you to lunch, doesn't it, Ro? It's great to be here, man.
I don't know anything about that.
We always have fun here together. It's great to talk high school recruiting. We got some great players in the city of New Orleans, as you know, as well as throughout the state of Louisiana. This year and next year and the following year are going to be some outstanding years, produce a lot of talent for college football.
We need to tell you also that this week our feature school will be Warren Easton, the Eagles of Warren Easton. A lot of prospects there. The head coach, Tony Hall, will be here on Prep Recruiting Insider. And our legend this week is a guy from another one of those Higgins people. We had a Higgins guy not long ago. We got another one here, and a very good one, Nate Singleton, Grambling star, San Francisco 49ers, the whole work. So should be a good show. Yep, got a ring. So what you got here? You know, what's this under the radar stuff? You know,
Well, so many people are recruiting experts, and they follow recruiting pretty closely, and they know about the guys the 4- and 5-star guys. But there's a lot of players in and around the city of New Orleans that are maybe flying under the radar. The scouts know about them, but a lot of recruiting fans really don't know as much as they should about them. And we have a baker's dozen, 13 players that I think are going to have an impact on some college football at the next level. And I just thought we'd kind of introduce you to some of these guys, or maybe let you know a little bit more about them.
Okay, in no particular order of importance, let's get it started. We'll start with a guy who comes from a school, I guess, not known yet for producing high school football stars or prospects, but he is definitely one.
Kean Williams, he's playing quarterback, a little wide receiver for Lusher, 5'11", 175, turns a full 40, has offers from Tulane, Colorado State, Houston, Missouri, Utah, Boise State, Arizona, California. See his skills right here, running the ball, good broken field runner, good explosion, very, very smooth, good hands, very intelligent, recognizes coverage as a wide receiver, and he's going to be a very, very good, productive college football player.
Lots of people at Walker Landry, but when you combine two schools with pretty good programs anyway, I guess you figure that, and this guy is one of them.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be good. They're going to be good for years to come. Emmanuel Dowries has offers from Arizona State and Tulsa. He's a 6'4", 270-pound defensive tackle, a great upside, very strong at the point of attack, and he's going to be a good one.
Also, he has a teammate, Trayvon Hobbs from Landry Walker.
5'10", 170 wide receiver, offers from Arkansas. Baylor likes him a lot. You see him right here. Very, very smooth wide receiver, good hands. He is an explosive receiver, has an extra gear, and understands the passing game. Knows how to use his body well, and comes out of routes ready to catch the ball.
We had this guy on the show not too long ago, and he is the fine quarterback from Archbishop Shaw, Quentin Gibson.
Quentin Gibson, 6'3", 200 pounds, attended the Elite 11 camp in Texas, Mississippi State, Arkansas, ULL, Houston. Really like him, as well as Louisiana Tech. Minnesota's watching him very closely. Strong arm, 3-year starter for the Shaw Eagles. Makes good decisions, understands the games, and it can make the tough throws.
Holy Cross has a nice looking safety there by the name of Travis Crawford.
Shooters row at 5'11", 190. Offers from San Diego State, McNeese, Southeastern Louisiana, Southern Miss, UL Monroe, and Western Kentucky. He's going to be a good one.
Let's go back to Landry Walker, a linebacker, Malcolm Wilson.
6 foot, 217 pounds, offers from Southern Miss, Arkansas State, Arizona, and UL Monroe. He fills the gap. He's got good pad level. He comes up and meets the running back in the backfield. Good instincts.
If you saw the Car Cougars at all this year, you saw this guy star in the big games that they played. Wide receiver, return artist, Glenn Irons.
5'10", 160, explosive. He's a 100 and 300 meters guy, a go-to guy. He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns against St. Aug and St. Paul's. Very, very tough, not big. ULL, Western Kentucky, and South Alabama like him, and someone is going to get a gem of a player.
Let's go to AP2 row. It's more than just Leonard Fournette. How about Austin Craig of St. Augustine?
Don't get a lot of love, but that defense is playing well. 4'6", 40, 6'3", 225. Offers from UL Monroe, Tulane, and Utah. He fills from the linebacker spot pretty well, comes off the edge, a very hard worker, and he reminds you a little bit of Rene Thompson, who played at Tennessee and the Arizona Cardinals. So he's got a great upside.
Offensive lineman Peyton Winbush, also of the Purple Knights.
Tulane likes him a lot, 6'3", 285, a lot of reasons to like him. UCLA, LSU, Mississippi State, and Houston are monitoring him. He's very smart, good pad level, good pass blocker. He reminds you a little bit, Ro, of a Trey Turner at his formative stages before he went on to play and started LSU.
Coach Barry Wilson has a nice-looking quarterback in James Tavery at Holy Cross.
Should do 6'2", 200 pounds, offered from Southeast Louisiana. Maryland and Rutgers are watching. He delivers a nice throw, comes over the top, nice delivery, very, very smart. He's hurt right now, but he'll be on the show next week. James Tavery is going to be a good get for someone.
I think James suffered a head injury or something, but they said he will be all right. Ronald Green, the running back, the Warriors of East Jefferson.
He runs angry, 4'5", 40, 6 feet, 210 or so. Interest from ULL, Southern Miss, Mississippi State, and UL Monroe. A power runner, good blocker. He can bounce it outside.
Back to Landry Walker. A lot of people under the radar. I'm not sure why. It's a team that's doing very well, and it's a safety this time.
Devon Jackson, 6'2", 195, about 200 pounds, comes up and fills very well. Very, very tough tackler. Offers from Arkansas State, Tulane, Southeast Louisiana, and Western Kentucky. And he is going to be a guy that really is going to make an impact on the defense at the next level.
And finally, back to St. Augustine High School, a tight end, Charles Jones.
Good size, 6'3", 235. Tulane is very impressed. And he opens that passing game for the Purple Knights. Passing attack, but he's a very good blocker, very physical guy, and he blocks well for Leonard Fournette and that whole running attack for the Purple Knights.
Okay, now that you've opened your mouth, I guess these guys are no longer under the radar.
Well, there's a few other guys that we load up that we're going to have in other subsequent lists, but there are a lot of players, and just goes to show there's a lot of players that are maybe not right now 4- and 5-star players, but they're very good college prospects.
This is Prep Recruiting Insider. When we return for our next segment, we'll talk to the head coach of the Warren Easton Eagles, Tony Hall. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park. We are in the event center once again, and as we said, this is a place where you can have your meetings, your parties, all kinds of space here. 34,000 square feet of meeting space. You can just do anything in this place. A great place.
You can almost play a basketball game in here, right?
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. And of course, Rene has the cars here that he owns. I'm told they're worth $250,000. Anyway, he is in his 6th season as the head coach of the Warren Easton Eagles. And wow, man, that really went quickly. 6 years already. But he's doing an outstanding job there on Canal with the Eagles. And he is with us today on Prep Recruiting Insider. And I'm talking about Coach Tony Hall of the undefeated, at this point, Warren Easton Eagles. The undefeated Warren Easton Eagles.
Yes, sir.
You like that, huh?
Yes, sir. It has a nice ring to it.
How you been, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, what is it? Not only do you have talented people, but you have talented young people. And I know a coach always likes that kind of situation.
Yeah, that sounds really well. Let's say you're talented but young. You know, we're happy with the work we've put in so far, and we're going to continue to work. And to have after this year, 10 out of the 11 guys on offense returning, and possibly 9 out of the 11 starters on defense returning, we're happy over on Canal Street.
What's the personality of this team, Tony?
The personality, they're great competitors. They're going to compete their backsides off for 4 quarters. And they've proven that against Holy Cross, against St. Amand, against Woodlawn. They do a great job of competing, and they refuse to give up, and they refuse to lose, and that's just the character of the team. It's just the makeup of them, and I'm so proud of them. Words can't express how proud I am of them.
So does that mean this team has taken on the character of its head coach?
Well, you can say that definitely, because I definitely do not like to lose. Ask my daughters when we play Monopoly. I don't like to lose. I don't, you know, I compete. I work hard, and so does my staff. And you know, I think they're taking on the characteristic of the staff I put together. You know, I have a great staff that works hard, that competes, that gets after each other, gets after me. You know, and I think they've taken on those characteristics of the total staff, which is a good thing.
Tell us who your staff is. Real
well,
quick.
my defensive coordinator is Jared Phillips, played at Tulane, played for the Giants.
He was all right. He was all right player. He's okay.
Played for the last state championship card team. You have Corey Spann, who played at Southern and played for the Rams.
He was all right, too.
You have Dallas Doball, who played with me at Reed. You know, the coaches, my DBs. You have Donnell Benward, who played at Tulane. He's a Warren Easton great. You have Cornell Roussel, who played receiver at Reed with me. You had Josh Wagner, who played at Shaw and played at McNeese and Southern Miss. And you have Jeremy Lello, the guy that played at 35 and has come along really, really well and coaching that great, you know, really good receiver crew we have. So those guys all together are successful at what they do. They're hard workers. They all are college graduates, and you know, they work hard for the kids, and I can't ask more from them.
And I'm glad Ro asked that question, because that's very important, the staff you have. 4-0 sounds good, but you know, every opponent you've had so far, Tony, it's not been, you've had some up here, some a little, you know, things like that. Does this team play, how do you get this team as talented as they are? Because sometimes teams that are very good have a tendency to kind of let down to the opponent. How do you have these guys keep their foot on the accelerator?
The mindset we have is we the next man up. You know, what that means is if a guy is not performing well, if a guy is laying on a leg, or if a guy gets hurt, the next guy behind him, the next man up, you know. Everybody talks about how good DeShawn was at quarterback the past 2 years and how great of an athlete he was. Well, he hurt his foot right before the season started, and Josh stepped in, and Josh has not let go of the reins of the quarterback job. So that just kind of tells you what's going on. And any player tell you on the team, if they're not performing or competing the way they should, we'll replace them. You know, we've had games where we replaced Tyron for not having a good practice, and he understands that, and he knows that this offense can continue to go, and this team can continue to be successful without them. I think that's the great thing about our team, is that the guys behind are willing to step up and make plays and help us be successful.
Did you, you know, you score a lot of points. Do you characterize this team as talk a little bit about your offense and your defense, I guess. You're a team that potentially can score a lot of points, but your defense comes up some big stops, has some great athletes. We're going to be talking to them in a little bit, but you're very, very talented on the defensive side of the ball.
Defensively, Coach Phillips and Coach Spann has done a good job of creating what we call an attack-style defense. You know, they want to create chaos for one and create turnovers, number two, and they have done a great job at creating turnovers. You talked about last week, I think we created about maybe 3 or 4 turnovers. The week we played Carver, we had about 5 turnovers. St. Amant game, we had some crucial turnovers to help us out. So those guys have done a great job of, we're not really big up front, but we're real athletic, and they're taking those athletic guys and created turnovers for us offensively to help us out on the offensive side of the ball. Offensively, you know, people say we're a fast-paced, high-octane offense. That sounds good. We're a fast-paced, executing offense. Because if you're not executing, you're just snapping 3 plays really, really fast and punting really, really fast. So we put a lot of emphasis on just executing, getting the ball moving, you know, getting first downs. And when you start to get first downs, you know, that turns into points. So, you know, we put more emphasis on executing than we do tempo.
This is a recruiting show, and you had some pretty good recruits last year. You know, just talk about some of them and where they are. You know.
We had Jason Stewart, who's at Tulane right now, who's doing really good from what the coach is telling me. You have Edward Williams, who's at Tulane also, which is a great get for Coach CJ, and Jason Rollins, and those guys that get a great job recruiting them. And Edward, I believe, got some playing time the past couple of weeks as a freshman. You have David Thiel, who's playing cornerback at Howard University. He's actually playing, getting good reps playing as freshman. You have Anthony Baptiste and Ronald, who are at Louisiana College, and those guys are doing really well. You know, and for those guys, I want to say David and Edward and Ronald to get playing time early speaks volumes for the type of character those kids are, how hard they work, how hard they prepare, you know, to be successful. So, man, we're doing a pretty good job.
Real quickly, I got to say, Coach Hall is a Sarah Reed graduate.
Yes, sir.
Went to Louisiana Lafayette.
Yes, sir.
But real quickly, before we get out of here, played for, in high school, the great Percy Dewey.
The greatest ever. The greatest ever.
I knew you wanted me to get that
Yes,
in.
sir. The greatest ever.
Well, Tony, thank you for joining us on Prep Recruiting Insider, and thank you. We're going to talk to some of your kids, some of the people that you mentioned. You've heard some of those first names, and now you get to see the people who match those first names that he's come up with. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All righty, this is Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana, the place to be if you like speed. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider on TV 20. And we are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. The place to be. All kinds of stuff out here, go-karts, the whole works. And we are in the event center where you can have your parties and meetings in the whole works. Receptions. Rene and Nate is here with me, as always. And you've got a couple of guys next to you. Couple of brainiacs, not just athletes, but student athletes. I'll call them brainiacs. Who are these people? You know?
Well, to my four left, Arthur McGinnis is a linebacker for Warren Easton, and to my left, immediate left, is Tre Porter, who is a safety linebacker for the undefeated Warren Easton Eagles, and it's great to have these guys with us today.
Indeed, it is. You know, defensive people. You know, Arthur is a junior, right, and Tre is a senior. So. You've been there at Warren Easton since 9th grade, I assume, 10th grade? What? How about you, Arthur? How long? Since 9th grade?
9th grade.
Since, okay, so you guys have been there with the program for a while. Talk about how this program has grown, how you've watched it grow and improve under Coach Hall. Arthur, you can go first.
You know, it grown exponentially. You know, being there in my 9th grade year, you know, thing about Easton, we always had dogs. Everybody, especially the defense, you know, and it was more of a, you know, executing thing and more of a discipline thing. And, you know, being there at Easton, you know, going into my, you know, 11th year in the season. So, you know, being here these couple of years really, you know, it really helped, you know, help improve my stability. And, you know, it's just great, and it really transformed.
Tre, how about you?
Well, I seen it change a lot because my freshman year and sophomore year, we only won 4 games total. And this year we 4-0. So I see big things coming, and it's starting from the coaches and then the players just adapting to what the coach is doing.
Well, you know, both these guys, as you said, Ro, take books very seriously. Tre with a 3.5 and a 24 in his ACT. Arthur with a 3.2 grade point average. That's great. When you can mix football and grades and do a great job. Arthur, I'm going to start with you a little bit in the recruiting process. Right now you have UCLA, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, LSU, and Alabama watching you closely. What are you looking for? Do you have a school that you've had a chance to visit, or what are you looking for in the recruiting process? You have another year to go, but right now, how is the recruiting process going for you?
You know, it's really going great. I visited Texas A&M, and I had went to the Texas A&M Alabama game, which was very, you know, it was a very exciting experience to be a part of that. And you know, I look for, you know, a great coaching staff, and you know, and a lot of effort. And I see it as more of and I look for academic as well. You know, I plan on majoring in business, so of course the school has to be, you know, a lot of business. So yeah, that's what I'm majorly looking for.
Now, Tre, ULL, Tulane, Louisiana Tech right now are kind of watching you pretty closely. Yeah. You're a senior, you're going through the process. What are you looking for, and when are you going to make a decision?
Well, once I find out, like, what's the right school, because I look for, like, where could I see myself enjoying myself for 4 years and getting a proper education and a great coaching staff. So that's what I'm looking for.
Well, Arthur, is there any players or anything that, as far as being a junior this year, how much will the players there impact, you know, as far as the depth chart or players that you're familiar with? You mentioned Texas A&M and LSU and Alabama watching you. How much will the players at that school familiarity affect your decision?
You know, our team is, you know, it's like a family. And, you know, being there, a lot of prospects on the team, you know, we share ideals and, you know, we share our, you know, dislikes and likes, you know, but of course, you know, we all play different positions, so there we'll be looking for different things. But as far as in a generalistic type of way, we look for, you know, most definitely academics, how well the coaches and the team, you know, work together and build, and you know, the team, they help out a lot with the choices we make.
Both of you guys play multiple positions. Most of you guys who are here play multiple positions, you know, I mean, be it linebacker and defensive back or whatever, you know. You have a preference, Tre? What do you? You have a preference which side of the ball you'd like to play on?
Well, linebacker is great, but safety, I know that's what I'm going to be playing in college. So safety is better for me for right now. Getting better at it.
And probably because of your size, I guess, too. I mean, how big are you?
I'm 188, 6'1", 188.
And you play in the box pretty good. You're a pretty open field tackler. And Arthur, something about you is, and you know, Tre does a great job in the box. You good off the edge. You're a 6'4", 230-pound guy, is that right? And about a 4'4", 4'5", 40. Right. You an edge rusher, is that something you really enjoy? Is there a player that you kind of model your style after, coming off the edge as a pass rusher?
You know, well, yes, my dad was a player, and you know, he played really well, and so was my uncle. And you know, I might try to model myself off of them, and you know, they taught me everything I needed to know about that, and you know, they taught me how to execute it, and you know, I learned and I executed well.
Where did they play with your uncle and your dad?
Well, actually, my dad played DN, and my uncle played cornerback.
And what school did they play?
My uncle, he played at Carver, and he actually went to the league. He played for the Saints as a free agent. And my dad, he played at Booker T.
How has recruiting been for both of you guys? You know, and when I say how, you know, you had people last year, teammates, you know, like Edward, you know, who were recruited, and Jason. Did you watch what they did and how they handled the calls and the visits and the, you know, talk a little bit about that.
Well, I just been taking things like one step at a time and just focusing on winning and being 5-0.
Okay, Arthur, real quickly.
You know, yeah. You know, I catch myself sometimes looking at their interviews and trying to, you know, make myself better off that. And you know, it's always something you can learn from somebody. And being there was there last year, you know, with the recruiting process, you know, they taught me, teach me, and they was telling me how big I was going to be in the future. And, you know, now as it become, you know, they're by my side all the way telling me, you know, giving me pointers.
Arthur McGinnis on the far left, and Tre Porter of the Warren Easton Eagles. Guys, thank you for joining us here on Prep Recruiting Insider. We are at NOLA Motor Sports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. When we return, we'll talk to a couple of additional Warren Easton Eagles. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. It's Warren Easton Day, our feature school here on the show this week, and we are, as always, at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. We're at the Event Center. Rene Nadeau, as always, is here with me. And Rene, introduce our next two guests.
To my left, DeShawn Capers-Smith, and to my far left is Tyron Johnson, wide receiver. DeShawn is a multi-skilled guy, quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback. He's been playing a lot of cornerback and wide receiver this year. And Tyron Johnson is probably the premier junior wide receiver in the state and one of the elite wide receivers in the country as a junior. And both these guys have another year to go. Great future.
And as far as DeShawn Capers-Smith, anybody with a hyphenated name has got to be a player, right? I mean, if you got a hyphenated name, you got to be able to play, I would think.
Right.
Guys, thanks for joining us here on Prep Recruiting Insider. Okay, you guys both are juniors, you know, and of course Arthur is a junior as well. You know, the recruiting has started, but it probably not as heavy as it's going to be this time next year. How are you preparing for all of this?
I'm preparing by taking it slow, talking to a lot of coaches, and I'm just taking it slow and focusing on the team first.
DeShawn?
Just keeping my options open and still doing what I got to do to help me get better before I make a choice.
Because you're a couple of guys, Rene, I think you would agree, Rene, this time next year, I mean, they're already on lists, but they'll probably be very high on list this time next year.
And DeShawn is a guy that can play both sides of the ball. I think his skills probably lie as a cornerback, got good speed. Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Utah, those schools are right now looking at you. What are you looking for in a school, and what schools, DeShawn, have you heard from so far?
I heard from Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and Alabama so far, but I never really heard about them offering me yet, but I hope they do. But the main things I'm worrying about is getting, I want to know that what can they do to help me get like a second option if football don't help out for me before I make a choice and see if I could be in the pro.
And Tyron, you got Oregon, LSU, Alabama. A lot of schools are really on you right now. Texas Tech likes you a lot. What schools have you heard from? And with the year out, what are you looking for in a program?
The recent schools I heard from is Tennessee and Ole Miss. What I'm looking for in the school is production, improvement. What you did last year, what you're doing this year. Spirit offense. I play in the spirit now, fast pace. Sometimes I like pro style, but it depends on what team you are. That's what I'm looking for in a team.
Talk to me, both of you guys, about this Warren Easton season as a team and what it's meant to you. You're going along very well right now. Just talk about this team and what this season has meant to you thus far. Still a lot to go, but what it has meant to you thus far.
My first 3 years, it wasn't that. Our season wasn't really good, but we still made the playoffs. But it was just like a first round knockout. But I want to get farther in the playoffs and hopefully make it into the Superdome. But as a team, that it's been really good playing with these people that on the team now and having a coaching staff that's really paying attention to how to get us better and showing us what can we do to get there.
Tyron?
We had a lot of young guys. We still have a lot of young guys.
Yeah.
A couple of seniors leaving, but as a young team, we're getting older. We're learning the game better. We have a great coaching staff. All the coaches starting to learn the players and learn their weaknesses and strengths. We're getting better as a whole, and we're marching forward onto that Superdome.
DeShawn, you done with quarterback, man?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? You don't know. You played quarterback last year, of course,
Yeah.
and like you said, you got a guy in there who can do it now, and coach can use you so many other places.
Right.
So you like that?
That's a good thing that we have a lot of people that can fill in spots. So that's a good thing that we have.
Well, you fill a lot of spots, no doubt about that. As we look at some video.
This is him. He's got good speed, 4.3, 4.4 kind of guy. Looks like you could be an outstanding receiver or runner, which you have right here. You do have a good corner. 3.0 GPA, which has to help you an awful lot. Also plays baseball. Pitcher, outfielder, and a catcher. And has playing football helped baseball and vice versa at all?
Oh, well, I played football my whole life growing up, but I started playing baseball when I was 12, so it helped out a little bit.
And Tyron, you, as we talked about earlier, people are looking at you as the elite junior wide receiver going forward. We've had Leonard Fournette and Speedy Nolan and guys like that. How do you kind of keep the pressure away and have people come up to you and make you feel like you know, you're already the #1 guy. How have you kind of kept everything in perspective?
I have a lot of coaches, you know, my uncle, my dad, they tell me not to get the big head, you know, to, stay focused on the goal. That's to do your job and win teams some games.
What do you feel like is your skill set? You do some things very well, good route runner, good hands. You got 26 catches, 4 touchdowns thus far. What do you feel like are your strengths as a wide receiver?
I think I have a lot of strengths. You know, I'm big and I'm fast, you know, and I got the knack to make people miss in space.
You're about a 6'1", 185-pound guy, so you got maybe almost 6'2", so you got pretty good size. Catch the ball at the highest point, good hands. Are these things that you've worked on, or has kind of come naturally to you?
I worked on this. It can't come naturally. You have to work at it. You have to work at it if you want to be great at it. Words from my coach Lello. He teach us, you know, highest point every practice, highest point. See every practice, you know, and you know, he preached that a lot. So once it get in your head, it's kind of stuck. So you have to do it once it's coming to the game.
And you guys can't afford to get the big head because you play in one of the toughest districts in the state. You do know that, right? You are aware of that. Well, guys, good to have you here on Prep Recruiting Insider. You know, outstanding season thus far, and I'm sure you guys will go on and have outstanding careers. You know, Tyron Johnson on the end there, and DeShawn Capers-Smith. Like I said, if you got a hyphenated name, you got to be a player. Guys, thanks for joining us here on Prep Recruiting Insider. When we return, we'll come back and, well, we'll talk a little bit about officiating or something like that. You know, Rene and Ro, he can wear the striped shirt. He can tell you what goes on over there. This is Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. You're watching WHNO TV 20, and this is PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm Ro Brown, and I'm with Rene and Ro. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana, the event center, as I said before. You know, great meeting place, and don't forget, you come out here and you ride those go-karts, and you know, there's motorcycles, there's, you know, cars, and everything. You into that kind of stuff like Rene and Ro? Yeah.
This is fun. If you've never been here before, you need to experience this. This is a great place to have fun and bring the whole family. And wow, I mean, there's something for everybody to do here.
Flag on the play. Okay, this is our flag on the place segment, Rene. What are we talking about today?
You know, there's so many people who really don't understand when a referee throws a flag and makes a call holding or chop block or whatever it may be. And we thought we'd do some segments throughout the year and explain, go inside and have an official explain why he made the call, what he was looking for, and what it was all about. And today, we're going to talk about holding.
Hi, my name's Troy Savage. I'm with the Greater New Orleans Football Officials Association. And hey, we're talking about holding. Let's face it, holding's one of those penalties that everybody talks about, and it's probably one of the biggest problems in the game. Unfortunately, the rule book doesn't really point us in doesn't give us a really good, clear definition of what holding is. So we use philosophies in order to help us and guide us in the field. Basically, holding is an illegal restriction. So we add that illegal restriction at the point of attack. And what is an illegal restriction? Illegal restriction would be any kind of grabbing outside the frame, pulling of the jersey. Things I'm looking for in a holding penalty are the offending player, his hands are outside the frame of the other player. Basically what he's doing is he's restricting the lateral movement at the point of attack. And the point of attack is very critical. What do I mean by point of attack? What I mean by point of attack is where is the ball most likely to go? Let's face it, football's a contact sport. There's going to be holding and grabbing on every single play. What we have to discern is what holding affects the play, and is it at the point of attack? Okay? Those are the critical things that you don't want to take a good game and ruin it with a bunch of needless holding. The penalty for holding is 10 yards.
There you go. That's it. You know, almost everybody knows that call. You know, everybody knows that call in football. It's holding. This is Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park, Avondale, Louisiana. We'll be right back to talk to our legend. Who is he? Here's a hint. He's got a ring. Our Legend segment is sponsored by Ronnie Lamarck, Lamarck Ford. Ronnie Lamarck was a legend of his own at Chalmette High School, and we want to thank him for sponsoring our Legends of the Game segment here on PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider. That's our legend, and I told you, the clue is he has a ring. Look at that, look at that. And we're talking about a Super Bowl ring right there. Yeah. And we are also talking about Nate Singleton, outstanding receiver, L.W. Higgins High School, Grambling State University, won a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers, of course, when they defeated the San Diego Chargers, and had a really good primetime game at home against his hometown team, and you see him running around right there.
Wow, you remember this game, Nate?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
As Coach Mora going, who is that guy?
Yeah. Total excitement, guys.
Total excitement. How was that night? You know, I bet that was
awesome, totally awesome. Coming back home and having all your family and friends. Mother and father was in the stands. A lot of friends I went to high school with, and you know, they were in the stands. And when we actually got to the stadium, had banners and all that stuff up, welcome home. And
I remember.
And you may know a Hall of Fame player on that team that night, Ricky Jackson, also was coming back home.
Right.
And I kind of like stole a little sunshine from him.
A little thunder from him. Yeah. You had your part of that too.
Yeah.
But you had a team full of stars. I mean, Steve Young, that team that won the Super Bowl, Steve Young, Ricky Waters, John Taylor, Jerry Rice, Ken Norton, Ricky Jackson, you know, Merton Hanks. You were loaded with guys, and George Seifert was the head coach. Bill Walsh went far away, but that was the game at 29 where Steve Young got the monkey off his back after sitting in the shadows of Joe Montana. That was a special year, wasn't it?
Yes, we had talent. We had Hall of Fame players on that team. Steve Young played behind another Hall of Famer, Joe Montana, and he had that year, you know, we're judged as athletes on championships. And although Steve won championships, but he didn't win them as a starting quarterback.
Right. And
that year, phenomenal year, great ride, total professionalism, if that's a word, and it was great. I enjoyed it. We all knew our role, and I knew what my role was, and we came together as a family. If that team could have stayed together, no one would have beat us.
That was Super Bowl 29.
29, and I tell you, Ro, he's got to say this before we run out of time. I know Nate very well, and he trains athletes and is coaching over at Hornville right now.
Yes.
And you stay in great shape, but he worked out with Jerry Rice running the hill one time, and tell us what happened, Nate.
Once was enough. I mean, we're all fortunate to be professional athletes, but you do have your superstars, and Jerry truly is a superstar. And one thing I learned from Jerry is a work ethic, and this is what I'm trying to share with the kids now. Every kid I have encounters with about knowing how to prepare yourself and having a work ethic. Working out with Jerry was unbelievable, but that workout is for Jerry and not for me. So I know exactly what to do to keep myself in shape.
I like that. Working out with Jerry is wonderful, but that workout was for Jerry.
Absolutely.
All right, I want to back up, go to the beginning. L.W. Higgins High School, number 82. You know, I remember always had that towel tied on the side and all that sort of thing. Talk about your time at Higgins, your high school football career, and how much were you recruited?
Wow, yes. Recruited a lot by numerous of schools. LSU won, Ole Miss. You're talking about Southern, Tulane, if I'm not mistaken. Southern Miss. It's a great process for these young kids. It was a great process for myself, and I enjoyed it. Recruit trips are very, I think you allowed it 5. I think that's an exciting part of it. To be recognized for your performances on the field, I think is a big achievement.
And you graduated from Higgins in 1987. 87.
Yes.
Okay. Why Grambling?
Wow, that's an interesting story. Interesting story. I don't think we have enough time. But, Grambling, I don't think Grambling was recruiting me because they thought I was too big for them per se. Had an uncle of mine who attended Grambling State University, as Ron Singleton.
Ron Singleton.
He played there, and I was very indecisive on where.
Played for the Niners also, didn't
Yes.
he? Yep.
West
Absolutely.
Jefferson,
Yes, I was indecisive on where I wanted to attend school. And at the last moment, I said, okay, we'll go to Grambling. And playing under the legendary Eddie Robinson, I think it was a great choice.
The bell.
Oh, wow.
They all react the same way.
You
may have to explain that. That's kind of an inside joke.
You cannot escape it. If you're on campus, if you're in a football dormitory, it's mandatory that you get up 6 o'clock a.m. every morning. Coach Eddie Robinson comes by ringing a bell.
One of those old handbells, people. One of those ding, ding,
yes.
Yep.
Real loud.
I did it with him one morning.
Real loud and knocking on, well, excuse me, he didn't knock on the door. He had a key to get in the door. And I can hear those words today. Get your feet on the floor. He figured if you get up and he takes your meal card.
That's right.
If you get up to come get your meal card, you're already up. That was his way of getting us to go to class.
You know, Nate, you had a great career, as Ro alluded to. Had your number retired from Higgins.
Yep.
How does Eddie Robinson get all these stars to kind of come down to earth, and you're part of this team, you're not up here, there's no two levels to this team?
He's an unbelievable individual. Love him to death. And my time with him, I learned so much in terms of being an individual, being a gentleman. Coach Robinson been around for such a long time. He's a guy that loves football. And once you're there, and once he encounters you, he's a guy to make you believe you can run through a brick wall. And that's inspiring for me. When I got there at Grambling, you know, we had athletes. You talk about 5-star players. We had All-Americans all across the board. And he had to figure out how to get us on the football field. And because it was so much talent. I mean, I got there in '87. You had people in front of me like Jake Reed, Fred Jones. You had, God, all of these guys went to the National Football League. Andrew Glover. So you almost got to sit and wait your turn. So, you know, I wanted to play football, but these guys was ahead of me. So I was like, I got to get on the field some kind of way, because coming from Higgins and having a successful high school career, I wasn't used to not playing. So I did punt return, kickoff return.
But he also had a game, 16 catches, 331 yards. And what, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns, yes.
Wow! In one game, you remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday. You could count the 4th touchdown, but it was called back. Pass interference on me. That's the game where athletes truly say, I was in the zone. And everything went our way, or my way. And I had a great night. The ball just seemed to stick to my hands, and I had a great time. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, Nate, thank you for joining us here on our Legend segment of Prep Recruiting Insider. Our Legend segment is sponsored by Ronnie Lamarck of Lamarck Ford. As we said, we want to thank Ronnie Lamarck for sponsoring our Legend segment. Legend, Nathaniel Singleton. Nate,
thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us, man. Always great to see you.
Always. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more Prep Recruiting Insider. That's the place, NOLA Motorsports Park, 11075 Nicole Boulevard, Avondale, Louisiana. It's the place to be. 504-302-4875. That's 504-302-4875. NOLA Motorsports Park, 11075 Nicole Boulevard, Avondale, Louisiana. And our game of the week is, remember this one from last year, Carver and Newman. They scored about 1,000 points in this game. It took them about 50 years to play it. It's the first NBC Prep Showcase. You can see it, the replay right here on WHNO, Saturday at noon. That's the Carver Rams and the Newman Greenies. Remember that? You know, you got Mr. Tyler and everybody there, and just everybody. Ooh, points all over the place.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of points.
Exciting
If you're going to the game or watching it, get a calculator, you'll need it.
Good to have Nate Singleton here.
It was great to see him, and great visiting with the Warren Easton Eagles. A lot of potential there, and boy, I tell you what, they got a great season ahead of them.
What do we have coming up next week?
Holy Cross Tigers, Coach Barry Wilson and his players, and Roland Barbay and your buddy Henry Randall will be
Oh,
next.
yeah, that's right. 50 years ago, Holy Cross won the state championship, as a matter of fact. 1963 team. You know,
Talk about that.
Barry Wilson was on that team. I'm sure we'll talk about that. This has been Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. Come on out. The address, 11075 Nicole Boulevard. All kinds of things out here. I know you love riding those little go-karts, so come on out. We have enjoyed our time here as always. We're in the event center at NOLA Motorsports Park. This has been Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm Ro Brown. He's Rene Nato. Thank you for joining us as we watch those go-karts going around and around and around and around. We'll see you next week.